This is Crazy Chiquita reporting live from Los Angeles, California. I saw something recently online that said dating these days is impossible because everyone is in a bunch of imaginationships and this amount of situationships and no one has any clue what's going on. There's some truth to that. So in case you didn't know what a situationship is, if you hadn't heard that term before, I'm sure most of you had. If you just quickly Google it, it says a situationship is a romantic relationship that's undefined or uncommitted. It may be based on convenience or short-term circumstances. That doesn't mean a situationship can't have some or even all the trappings of a regular relationship, including an emotional connection. So here's my thesis statement for you today. Listen to me loud and clear and send this to your friend if she needs to hear this. The longer you allow yourself to stay in a situationship, the more you start to believe that that's all there is. I'll say that one more time. The longer you stay in a situationship, the more you start to believe that's all there is. Or that's all you're worthy of. That's all you deserve, right? Because when I stay in this gray area of, I wonder what we are, I wonder what he's thinking, etc. and so on and so forth, even though you've kissed, you text every day, and you're in this gray area and your friends ask you like, well, what are you guys? And you're like, I don't know what we are. I have no idea. And in the back of your mind, you're like, I wish I knew what we are. And I wish he would bring it up. And I wish, there was some clarity here because every single day it's tearing my heart out not to really know what he thinks or what he feels. Real talk. The longer you stay in this area of confusion, the more you start to think, this is all that's in the dating world. This is all I'm ever going to get. Is this confusion? Is this gray area? Is this wondering? Is this waiting? Is this like, does he like me? Does he not? He texts me and is super, engaged and involved in our whole situationship, and then he just falls off the face of the earth for like a week or 2 weeks or a month or 6 months, and then all of a sudden, hey girl, how's it going? And you're like, this is it. I'm never gonna find anything better because you allow yourself to stay in that place. And when he texts you, hey girl, you're like, hey, because you are still emotionally invested in that. You're still emotionally connected there. And some of you are like, dude, yes, you are talking to me. And I wish you weren't talking to me, but you're talking to me. Yes, I'm talking to you. Why? Because I want what's good for your heart. We've made that very clear from the beginning. And staying in a situationship, that area of confusion as the weeks and months go on and you're like, what is this? The more it just hurts your heart. And the more you really believe like, this is all that I'm ever gonna find. This is all that's ever going to be. When you have the power in your life to step out of a situationship, to make sure that you are not in a situationship anymore, there's a couple of things that you can do. I wrote about this on Instagram recently when I talked about commitment. You have permission, may I remind you, I'm not giving you this permission. You have this permission by being a human being to speak up for yourself and to ask the questions you want to know the answers to. If you are in a situationship. For instance, what is this? Really simple question. What is this? Where do you stand and where do you see this going? 3 questions that you could ask. You don't have to ask all of them. You can ask just one. By all means, you can bring it up in person, but it's not the best idea to text that. I think it's better to call on the phone. Props in 2020. And ask him straight up, straight to the point. Why? To protect your own heart, for the good of your own emotional well-being. And I think a lot of times we get confused. Women will say, I want to tell him this about how I feel, or I want to ask him where he stands. They fall into the idea that that is pursuing him. That's pursuing the guy. Telling a guy how you feel is not pursuing him. And it's really important to remember that it is good to speak up about how you feel because this is your life. Like we've talked about 1,000 times before, you're in charge of taking care of your own heart. There's people who love your heart and want to help you take care of it, but you are in charge of taking care of your heart in your life. And you get to choose that. You get to choose to step up and say, to ask those questions, to call him on the phone and say, hey, this is where I am and I can't be in this place of confusion anymore. I love this phone. I can't be here anymore. I can't be in this situationship of not knowing what's happening between us, not knowing what you're thinking, not knowing what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling, because I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to continue to let you string me along if that's really what's happening, which happens a lot. I don't want to continue to let you string me along and be in this one week and not in this the next and me just be totally confused. Speak up. Don't remain in situationships. Not only will you, back to the thesis statement, start to believe that's all there is for you, you will become more and more emotionally invested. And when you finally do get up the guts to say, I can't do this anymore and I don't want to do this anymore, you're more emotionally invested than had you done it 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years prior, because women allow these things to go on for a lot longer than 2 years. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, a lot of valid reasons for that based on our own emotions and what we've been through and what, our heart desires and so on and so forth. But you have the power. And if he's totally freaked out by you saying like, I either want commitment in what's going on between us, or I have to move on with my life, if he's totally freaked out by that, he's not the guy for you. If you are longing for commitment, and if you want a guy who says, yes, I find you interesting and exciting, and I want to get to know you more, and blah, 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 and I want to continue going on dates with you. Maybe he says, I'm not ready for a committed relationship, but I want to continue to go on dates and continue to get to know you. That's great. Guess why? Because you know where he stands then. Super important for your emotional well-being, the health of your heart, the happiness of your heart. Yes, this applies to both men and women, but I'm just talking to the women today. So that's what I want you to know. Dear women, stop settling for situationships. You have the power, you have the choice. And we think like, oh no, I don't, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. 1,000 times over. Yes, you do. You have the power to ask any of those 3 questions in whatever, verbiage that takes. You have the power. Seize it for the good of your heart, which is what I care about and why I make these videos. So if you know a friend who needs this, send it to her. If your friend sent this to you, it's because she loves you and she wants what's best for your heart. That's all for today. This is Crazy Chiquita telling you the truth, because God knows the world needs more truth. That should be my tagline. Crazy Chiquita, here to tell you the truth. I want you to keep those hearts up and take care of them. That's all for today. Talk to you soon.